So since I started teaching in the early 1990s, the one constant I've had throughout my career has been what we know as CASE and now Let's Think. And really it's the thing I've always believed in that will make a difference, will actually have an impact on the students and their future, and also make us better classroom teachers and practitioners. So when I had the opportunity to then shape a school and bring CASE to Ryesip High, I did it sort of straight away, and then encouraged the maths and English departments to be involved in the respective programmes. And the great thing about Let's Think, it doesn't take much to persuade people that this is something that, as I've said, makes a difference. And so we're now, I believe, the only school that really has all three programmes embedded in our Key Stage 3 curriculum. A colleague said to me, which year groups are the first year groups to have experienced it? And it's our current year 11, and they would say they are different. They're different to the cohorts above them in the sense that classrooms are more dynamic, I think, that the students know it's much more about their own learning and understanding and challenging each other. And so I think one of the things, we're here to do is to always ensure students have a thirst for knowledge and a desire to learn. And sometimes during years 9 to 11, you can see that wane a little bit. I don't think you would see that here. I think that keeps that momentum going and that sort of ownership about learning. So I think that's been one of the fundamental impacts, is the classrooms are, dynamic environments where students want to be in charge of their learning. I think teachers they very much are affected by the whole experience of Let's Think, because they firstly look at learning in a different way. So they will think about a child's level of cognition. So they'll think about the concept that they're working with, the class. What's the cognitive demand of this concept? So therefore, how shall I broach the concept and think about the students' current level of thinking and what they therefore will find difficult and challenging. And I think at their core, they now know lessons have to be challenging. So they need to be thinking about what we know as Vygotsky's ZPD, the zone of proximal development, which is where they currently are and where they could actually get to. So I think they broach more lessons in that way, and that's what we understand by that sort of pedagogical content knowledge. They understand what underpins the concepts that they're teaching. And the great thing about that's not about Key Stage 3, that's everything we teach. And I know as a teacher, when I was teaching chemistry A-level, I would always think much more about the cognitive demand of the concepts that I was teaching. So that's the sort of understanding we have about what we're teaching. Then in the classroom, it's just the methodology where we expect group work to be fundamental in learning, that students can learn so much from each other. And then secondly, about how we question them, that we don't want to be seen as the fountain of all knowledge and we're here to impart it to them, that actually they can work an awful lot of things out for themselves. And I think that the plasticity of the brain, if you're doing that, I think the evidence we know from Let's Think, it gets hardwired even better if they're working it out for themselves rather than we're doing it for them. So I think it's really twofold. It's that teachers learn to have a better theoretical understanding of learning itself and the learning within their subject, but then at the same time it's the classroom methodology about creating a really dynamic, challenging learning environment, which is what students should experience each and every day. The increase in the curriculum demand that we're facing now as a profession goes back to really why Michael Shea and Philip Adey first ever came up with cognitive acceleration, because they then could see the new national curriculum ahead of teachers and students saying, well, look at the actual cognitive demand of the concepts we've got to teach, but look actually at the average level of thinking of the students. And that's why you get so many teachers training children for exams, because there is a deficit in the level of the students' thinking. to the demand of what they're having to do. So that's why programmes like Let's Think are so fundamental for our future, with the curriculum demand increasing across the piece. We need students who can have a higher level of cognition to be accessing the curriculum and being challenged. So the future has to be Let's Think if we're going to cope with the new GCSE and A-level reforms.